I was getting an embed family guy, but I thought better of it. All right, let's see here. So here's our embed Google Analytics. I'm going to show you that real quick. Oops, actually, let's see here. Oh, I'm sorry. This is. I wanted to do this one in the skin as well. And this is important for two things, because you're going to end up seeing this if you start developing your own widgets as well. So let me open up the skin again. Why am I having a lapse of reasoning here? All right, we're going to open up our skin file one time. Index.acx. All right, there's our tag. Now, I'm going to actually remove that stuff because that's not necessary. All right, so I'm assuming that I have a Google Analytics code of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Once again, I don't need that. That's just white noise. All right, so the type of widget is Google Analytics, but it's coming from the embed widget once again over here. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. This is in our index.cs. All right. And actually, I want to get rid of that before we move on, because it'll just use it up all over real estate. So our page is re-rendered again. Now, if we looked at our page, this is kind of cool to know too. At the bottom, we got here's our object tag. This is the widget. It's just like we saw it in the source, right? But when we go and look at it, how the DOM renders it, I apologize, this part is actually out of order. Okay, very fast. Yeah, here it is. There's where the object tag is. Now, it looks simple enough, right? The embed widget, we're supposed to be able to just put a value here of the tracking code and in Google Analytics. But once again, if you've ever used the Google Analytics code, it actually has to import a JavaScript file for it to work, right? And then you have to put some execution text inside a script tag in order for it to actually execute and render your Google Analytics process, or execute the process. So at this point, we have an empty tag here. This is where that bug is in DotNetNuke, right? And we're about to show you how to fix that, at least for the time being, until the next version is supposed to have a fix in it. So shared, remember this is where our, oops, actually that's not it. There we go, embed widget. So here's the code for the embed widget, all right? We see just a couple of default parameters there, but remember in the snippet codes, you can have one. And now here's our internal render. So we have the typical render function right here, all right? But then when we go down, it actually executes an internal render, so it actually does some more rendering. And this is just to make the code more compact and kind of separate it out like we usually do, all right? And you can start to see evidence of some of the delimiters and how it looks through the snippet code and looks for the different parameters to go and replace, all right? But down here, here it is. This particular code is a little bit buggy, right here. That little snippet code, this right here, actually prevents your script tags from being executed. So I'm going to go ahead and comment that out. All right. So now when we go and refresh our page, see our scripts there for Google Analytics. So that's that particular one. Now, so if you have any widgets that use the script tags at all, you have to have that commented out until they fix it in the next version. Any questions on the Google Analytics and the embed widget? All right. Take it back to core, because remember, we're not supposed to modify the core, right? All right. Was that the last one of those? Yes, it was. Okay. All right, so we're going to go over one more real quick. A rotator. Love the rotator. All right. So to show you a little bit of what I did to set up the rotator before I do it, remember the rotator is the widget that allows you to rotate images or whatever, and you don't have to do anything really, just put a widget on there, okay? So I'm really excited about this one, if you can't tell. So I'm going to, where we store files when we're in our DotNetNuke installation, it's usually in our portals folder, okay? So our portals folder in this case, we only have one portal, it's 0. And I put a subfolder in there called rotator, and I have a bunch of pictures from Open Course Connect that we had last year in Orlando, all right? So I put them all in there, and something that's important to note, with all rotators for the most part, you want to, it's like my stuff works sometimes all the time, it never works some of the time, whatever. I made them all the same size, so these are all like 500 by 375 or something like that. Okay, so I just named them clear name, you know, some obscure thing. But something I did in there is I had to make sure that I have a number. You see, there's an underscore number. There's some sort of index value, so it can count through. All right. So you see 1 through 8. All right. So anybody clear? Not clear in putting pictures into a folder. All right, just making sure. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and grab our. Scared I keep it all in the same spot. Here's my rotator object, or embed widget. A very unique name of the ID rotator. Okay. Now, just to let you know, I should probably say maybe widgets rotator or something like that. Oh no, you know what? Even better. Open force connect or Mendo. That's a lot better, right? Okay. What's that?
2008.
Oh, I can never get it wrong. All right. So our code base here happens to be rotator widget, and once again, that's because in our particular file here, the widget name was rotator widget. Okay. Now, that's going to be, I'm going over that again because that's going to be even more important when we start doing our own. All right. So we have some parameters here: width and height, dimension 500 by 375. The URL is relative to the portal. So you can see this is my root folder, all right? And then it starts moving up portal, 0, rotator, wherever this particular file is. But it doesn't necessarily have to be in that particular file structure, just wherever it is. Okay. Something that I missed that's very easy to miss is the image count. It needs to know how many images or whatever it's going to be rotating through. And then the file name that it's looking for. All right. It's going to be looking for something with an index. You see the index in the brackets there? I'll zoom in on it for you. All right. So it's going to replace that index token with a number as it starts counting. All right. So we're going to go ahead and put this in our page. And we're just going to go ahead and update. Hey, well, first, anybody have any questions on object tag before we go? Okay, it's still working a little bit. All right, there's some, if we go back and look at the tags, there's some breaks in there. But you can see, I didn't really have to do a whole lot of work. All I had to do was have somebody resize my images, and now I have a rotator with very little work. All right, I didn't have to know any JavaScript whatsoever. And for any, yes, sir.
Sorry, index starts at 1, and then
yes,
goes up to
yes,
it's
and I think that's true of all JavaScript. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think JavaScript is the arrays are one base and that's zero base. Is that right? No, it is zero base. Okay, I'm wrong. See, I told you. All right. So I'm going to get rid of that. There's all of our break tags again. Break tags. All right, so that's my little demo for the .NET Core widgets. There's a lot more you can do with it. There really is. They've done a great job with all the widgets and exposing a lot of functionality. Is there any questions on any of those that we went through? Doing that report, that good? All right. So next thing we're going to look at is they provide a default. They do this with everything, and is whenever they provide a new functionality, they put a sample out there so you can see how it works, and you can use that to be able to create your own whatever that particular thing is. In this case, the widgets. So there's a your company widget, and all that really is like a text injection widget. It basically takes one parameter, I think it's called text, and whatever that text is, it'll embed it into the page. All right, and that text could be pretty much anything. All right, so we're going to take a look at that. So remember, the .NET Core widgets are in the DNN folder under the widgets, and ours, whatever they may be, are going to be under user, and then whatever your company name is, there's going to be a subfolder there. In this case, it's your company. All right, so we're going to look at that real quick. We got some cool things in there that you might notice that are kind of familiar if you've done some recent developments in .NET 5, license or release note. Here's a manifest file. So if you don't know already, that tells you that this is something that you can install in your in the extensions wizard. All right, and that's kind of important to know because then you can put a license to it and all these other things. But also, you have a place for your admins and hosts to be able to look and see what's installed on there, the information about it, and so on. You'll be able to look for yourself. What version is it? You know, are they running the latest code base that I just wrote or whatever? Okay.